Welcome back. Well, the Supreme Court ruling in a 6-3 decision that Louisiana's redrawn congressional map to create a second majority black district is a form of illegal racial gerrymandering. The decision expected to have far-reaching ramifications on this year's midterms, with a slew of states having already redrawn their congressional districts prior to the ruling. Joining me now with this Sunday Morning Futures exclusive is Texas Governor Greg Abbott, who led his state's efforts to redraw its congressional districts. Governor, great to see you this morning. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you, Maria. Great to be back.
Give us your assessment of the impact of the Supreme Court rulings, and what are you expecting the impact to be of these new maps?
So listen, the Supreme Court ruling in the Louisiana case is similar to the Supreme Court ruling in the Texas case. And the Supreme Court just applied a principle that most Americans already understood, and that is, for example, in a hiring decision in the United States, everybody knows an employer cannot engage in racial discrimination. Now the court is just making clear that that same hiring decision, when voters hire who their member of Congress is going to be, there cannot be racial discrimination. The fact of the matter is, for decades, the Democrats have been using racial discrimination to draw these crazily drawn lines to try to protect Democrats. And now those crazy jigsaw puzzle lines they've been using to protect members of the Democrat caucus in Congress can no longer be used. And here's the practical effect of what's going to happen. Because we are going to eliminate using race to draw these congressional lines, it means that, especially in these southern states, we are going to add maybe a dozen more Republicans to the United States Congress. Texas is going to add 5 Republican seats. Florida's going to add 4 Republican seats. There'll be many more in other southern states. And we will finally make those districts look a whole lot more compact. The other thing about this, Maria, is the rank hypocrisy by the Democrats. Listen, if you look at New England, in all of the New England states, there are millions of Republican voters, and yet there are 0 Republicans who represent New England in the United States Congress. And then look at what Obama said over the past 2 weeks. 2 weeks ago, Obama was applauding Virginia for redrawing their maps to eliminate Republicans, and yet he was in shock and very critical when Louisiana is now going to draw its map to elect more Republicans. It's time for the Democrats to stop being such hypocrites and finally have everybody across the country to stop using race as a reason to draw congressional lines.
Wow, that is just incredible, Governor. Thank you for that explainer. So what is your assessment and your expectation for the upcoming midterms? I mean, you've got a heated GOP Texas Senate primary headed for a runoff between John Cornyn and Ken Paxton. And whoever wins that will face off against James Tallarico, who, on the Democrat side, who claims that he is moderate. How do you see that playing out?
Well, listen, Maria, Texas has the longest winning streak of any state in America. Republicans statewide in Texas have gone undefeated for more than 30 years. And I can tell you right now, Republicans are going to win every statewide seat this November, and especially in that race against Tallarico, and for a very simple reason. What Tallarico, as well as the other Democrats on the ballot this cycle, are standing for are the crazy leftist policies that you see coming out of places like Mandami in New York and the crazy leftist progressive policies in California. Some easy examples of votes that have already been made about Tallarico that you will hear a whole lot about as we get close to the election. Tallarico is for boys and girls sports. Tallarico is for defunding the police. He's for the Joe Biden open border policies. And get this, this is really going to rile up Texas voters. Tallarico is in favor of a state income tax. That's outrageous. I'm working right now as we speak on slashing property taxes in the state of Texas by, among other things, saying that your homestead should not be used to fund our public schools. Instead, the state of Texas should be solely responsible for funding public schools. My plan would cut your property tax bill in the state of Texas by half, and yet people like Tallarico and the other Democrats are against that. And so when we contrast the policies that Republicans stand for versus the policies that Democrats stand for in the state of Texas, we're going to extend our undefeated win streak by Republicans in the state of Texas.
Well, that's unbelievable that he wants to bring back, that he wants to put income taxes in place. So you believe that no matter who wins that runoff, whether it be Ken Paxton or John Cornyn, they both will beat James Tallarico in November, you believe?
I do feel confident. Let me explain one thing about it, and that is, you know, some people say, well, the polls don't really show that yet, things like that. Here's the deal. The main thing that happens in a political race when you get down to the finish line is contrast. Right now, it's Republican versus Republican. They haven't taken the time to contrast themselves with Tallarico. When the public finally learns about the far leftist Mandami-style votes that Tallarico has taken, he will be trampled in November.
All right. We will be watching that. Governor, thank you so much for your leadership and all you've been doing for the economy of Texas. We are watching your work, sir. Thanks for being here this morning.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.